Hello, everyone. This is Charles Bonko-Kodom, your host from Destiny Ministries. I am very excited to be with you one more time. Today we have a very important topic to discuss. We are still on the topic relationships, friendship, and marriage, but we are doing part 2. Before we start, I would like to thank all of you for your support and for your love. Many of you, I saw that you subscribed to the channel and you also shared. You also put your comment across. It was so wonderful. I'm very grateful. Keep watching. Invite as many friends as you can. For the topic we are doing today is very, very interesting. We are looking at romantic relationships. Yes, I am sure many people expected me to talk about it last week, because anytime you make mention of relationship, many people begin to think about romantic relationships. But then that is not the only kind of relationship that we have. So I needed to take us to the origin of relationships. That is anything that can connect two or more people together to understand the basic principles. And then we will then come to the real thing, which is romantic relationship. So send your comments across. And then if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do, so that you can easily get future videos as and when they are released. Romantic relationship. Let's begin. Now, I'll brief with this one. I will share with you a few concepts, a few principles that we need to have in mind when we are entering into relationship. Okay. I understand we have what we call courtship and then dating. Okay. Courtship and dating. One might ask, what is the difference? It was when I was getting ready to do this discussion with you, then it occurred to me that we do hear of these two words. And the little that I read about is that in dating, you can go into dating without attaching so much commitment to it. But when we look at courtship, which is the main focus that I want us to talk about, and the romantic relationship, courtship is, when people are very serious about what they are doing. That is when two people are planning to enter into marriage, but dating may not necessarily end up in marriage. Okay, so I am here for those who have in their mind that they want to settle down for marriage. If you don't have that mentality, then I'm afraid this is not going to be the right video for you. Okay. If you need a woman in your life, or if you need a man in your life, you must see the value of that person. So you must take that person very seriously. You don't go into romantic relationship because you are feeling lonely and you just want the person to be a companion to you just for a season, and then you drop that person. You should be serious about what you are doing. So that is what I am here for today. So the first point I want us to understand, you must understand the reason for your courtship or relationship. That is the first point. Why do you agree to enter into that kind of relationship? It is not there to, let's say, satisfy each other person's sexual desire, or to just get close to a certain family because of a social status or what have you. No. It is a matter of having the intention of joining both of you in eternal marriage. When we get into marriage, we don't plan to divorce in the middle of it. That is why we are discussing this topic, that the preparation that goes into it are so important. So we enter into courtship with the main intention to get married, to climax it with marriage. So if that is not your main purpose of being in that kind of relationship that you are in, then I'm afraid you have to quit right now, because it will not lead you anywhere. If you are going to just to experiment, or to see whether this lady tastes good, and people use all sort of things, you have missed the mark. Please tune yourself to the right thinking. To enter into courtship, you must be someone who is ready for marriage. You are not preparing in the process. You see, the thing is, before you go into it, you are ready to get married. But then you first have to confirm, you first have to hear from God. You have to know the person that you are coming to spend the rest of your life with. That is the preparatory aspect of it. It's not like it is in it. Some people can stay in romantic relationship for several years, for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they are like, oh, we are not ready yet. Then you have to dissolve it. If you are not ready, don't go and play around another person's life. So that is point one. Understand the reason for your courtship and what is the reason to enter into marriage. Number two, be yourself and stay true to yourselves. Be yourselves. I hear oftentimes people want to show their best form in romantic relationships. It's not necessary. You don't have to force anything. You see, many people try to impress. They try to hide certain things. Don't hide your weaknesses. No. Let your partner get to know that I am strong here, I am weak here. Because the idea behind relationship and even marriage as a whole is not what we think. It's different. From God's perspective, you enter into marriage because you have something to offer. You see, you have something to offer the other person. You feel like you want to make the other person a better person. You have lots of love that you want to share. You know, love is something that you can measure it. Okay, so if I offer you love, that is, the determining factor of my why I want to be with you, because I feel like I can do you some good. You see, many people go into relationship and marriage by first assessing what can this person offer me. No, you don't start that way. The first thought is, it's like if you are in the university or you are in the college, they do this assignment or they do this task, which they call thesis or research. Okay, I understand most universities, the lecturers, they pick certain learners that they feel like they can work very well with. Or if you're a learner and you desire to have a particular lecturer to supervise your work, you have to, send a proposal to him. You have to talk to him that I would like you to supervise me. So the lecturer will speak with you. The lecturer will do some sort of interview with you to know whether he's comfortable, whether you can flow along. He's doing that not because you know it already. No, he wants to know whether you are teachable, you are ready to learn, whether you have the capacity to finish the race. You see, so in courtship, the most important thing is, as we prepare and enter into marriage, can we finish the race? It's not about getting married. Anyone can get married today, but are you going to finish it? That is why you need to go through some things first before you finalize on your decision. So you have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. You don't have to be like someone else. You try to hide certain things from your partner. I believe the moment you begin to keep a lot of things away from your partner, when you start the real life, that is when you marry and you start living together, and your partner realizes, oh, but I thought you loved this kind of dress. I thought this was your favorite meal. How come things have changed overnight? So, the whole thing begins to fall apart if you don't be yourself. So, you have to let this, childlike thing that is inside of you come out. Okay, your partner wants to see how sweet you are. Like if you are in your natural self, and you can be in your natural self when you begin to behave like a child. Because as we grow up, we learn a lot of things, we hear so many things, so we get contaminated, with the things that surround us. But for children do what they want to do. They don't look left or right. They do what they want to do. So I think that is why your partner wants to see a person who loves you, who will love you more. When the person sees those things in quote, that you may think in your mind that, oh, it's silly. Oh, it's silly. This is how I sleep. This is how I do this. This is how I see. So my husband or my husband to be, let me put it that way, or my partner may not like it because he's a university graduate. He's a PhD holder. He is this. No. We don't look out for those things. Oh, I have to impress the woman. I have to impress the woman. I have to go and even rent a car. I have to go there in this kind of suit, and those things don't last. So be yourself. Be yourself. And once the person gets to know you, that is where the whole beauty starts from. The person will begin to know how to help you. Because in relationship or in marriage, we build one another. We build one another. Not because we are full already, but we get there so that we can fill ourselves. So that's the second point. And the third is to be prayerful and stay pure. To be prayerful and stay pure. This is a very important point that I'm very particular about, because it is the time to hear from God. It is time to hear from God. You see, when we talk about love is so, complicated. The word love, it's difficult to define it entirely. You may know some component of love. You can't look into a person's eye and say, okay, you love me today, you love me the next 1 year, you love me for the next 50 years. It's difficult to tell. So we need God's direction. And that is the more reason why we have to stay pure for God. Now, I see many people in romantic relationship. Already they are sleeping with one another. Now, how do you hear from God in such a situation? How do you hear from God? People are like, let me test it first. What do you want to test? What do you want to test? You have to understand. You have to understand what you are putting yourself into. You need God's direction. You see, you need God's direction. It's not something which is so physical as oftentimes we interpret it. You have to give yourself to God, that God will let you know that this woman or this man, you are about to, join your souls together. The person is going to be of help to you. That I, the Lord, I have a hand in this relationship. So you have to stay pure. Some people will be like, no, after all, we are going to get married in the end. So if we start seeing ourselves in bed, there is nothing wrong with it. There is everything wrong with it. Let me tell you one truth today. If a man and a woman who want to get married, and in the course of their relationship, they decide to see one another, there is a clear indication that when they get into marriage, one of them or even both of them will be sleeping outside. Now, let me prove that to you. Do you know that in marriage, we can have instances where your partner can be sick for 6 months? Your husband can be sick or indisposed for about 3 months, even for a year, or can travel. In other words, your husband or your wife may not be always stay with you because of one or two reasons. And how are you going to survive? So, how different is that when you were in romantic relationship, when you were courting? That few months, that couple of months, 6 months, or maybe 12 months, I don't know how you intend to stay, how long you intend to stay. But that few months that you are together, if you cannot hold yourselves, then I wonder what will happen when you are in the real marriage, and then it happens that your husband has to be transferred to the other place. How can both of you survive? So I would like to be straightforward. I would like to be straightforward with you that if you are in a romantic relationship, you have no right to see each other sexually. You have to restrain from that, because don't forget, you are waiting upon the Lord. God will point to you, whether this relationship is good for you or it is not. Having said that, if for some reasons you're already in courtship and you are into, let's say, you see one another, let me put it that way, you are having a sexual affair or relations, I think it is not too late. If you really want to hear from God and know that God will be part of your engagement or your relationship, I advise you to stop it and then keep yourself pure. Because you are not going into this relationship because of that thing. You see. So once that goes ahead of you, it steals the main focus of wanting to be with that person. Don't forget, love is deeper than sexual relations. Love is deeper. You can love someone for the rest of his or her life without this kind of thing. I'm not saying it is not important. It is important in marriage, not in courtship. So please take note of that. God will speak to both of you if you give yourselves unto him during that time. And then number 4, you get to know each other's one another's background. Get to know the background of the lady, and the lady must also get to know the background of the man. And then work on possible obstacles if possible. Okay, there may be so many challenges coming from the two of you, your backgrounds. You have to sit down and address them. Some of them at the beginning, they may seem to be so difficult, but then life is not that smooth. We face a lot of obstacles on the way, and we have to be strong and know how to overcome every hurdle that comes our way. So you have to get to know the family. You have to go to the lady's house. The lady has to, visit your family as well. You have to know, the families have to know your intention. There are some household duties maybe you are very passionate about. You have to spend quality time with the person that you intend getting married to. Don't forget, it's something that is preparing you for marriage. So get to know the background of the person. I remember a few years back when I was in the university, we had this kind of Christian gathering. And then one night I had a dream. So the next morning I shared my dream with my friends. And they laughed. They thought it was so funny. You see, in the dream, I had a clear vision that once you want to go into marriage, you must do your investigation. You must do your findings about the background of your partner. In my language, we say, Okwawaria Bisa. So I just said it like that, and everyone started laughing because they were hoping that I could share things like, oh, I saw an angel. God gave me some spiritual gift, the gift of the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. So to them at that time, what I said wasn't spiritual. But here today, we are talking about the same topic. Don't forget that God is a stakeholder of your relationship. So God is very interested in the relationship that you find yourself. It's not only you, the man or the woman, but God is a stakeholder in whatever union that you are building together. So you cannot go without God. You cannot go without God. Okay, so knowing the background of the person is so important. Please don't skip that. Many people are moved by outward things, and then they skip that stage. They think, oh, I've seen the person, I know the person, I love the person. No, that may not be enough to define love. And another thing I want to talk about is that you have to know the likes and dislikes of your partner, as well as the strengths and the weaknesses. They are so important. Don't just live with the person. Many people pay attention on the likes, on the strength, and they ignore the side of the weaknesses and the dislikes. When you get to know those things early enough, it helps you to overcome possible challenges that you might face later on in the marriage. You go to some marriages, every day there is war. Every single day. The man is fighting the woman for trivial matters. Those things are not so important. If you really listen to the genesis of why they are fighting, you get to know that they are very trivial things. So it is important we get to understand each other well, embrace one another, our likes and dislikes, know how to overcome our challenges. So we do all of this during the courtship period, so that when you are into marriage, you don't see so many surprises. When you get into marriage, it's like you know the person already. You know the person already. And probably the last point I want to say is that don't love because of external factors. like the person is too beautiful or too handsome. The person has a good stature. The person comes from a rich background. The person is so jovial. Wow, this man is so jovial. He makes me laugh. Those things will expire. They will expire in no time. The person is a good conversationalist. Oh, the person is a pastor, a man of God. The person is a celebrity. Those things may be good. I'm not condemning them. It must be built on love, okay? The key one must be built on love. Don't just expose yourself and depend so much on external factors, which will, fade away in no time. Build your relationship on love. Build your relationship on love. And the last advice I would like to give is that, the concept of relationship or marriage is not about what to receive from the other person. The moment you build that in your mind, you begin to get a lot of problems. The main concept is what you've got to offer the other person. What you've got to offer the other person. See the other person as someone who needs your love, who needs your care, who needs your correction. You are not going into the relationship as a judge. You're not going into that marriage as a judge. That is what we tend to do most of the time. So everything your wife does bores you. Everything your husband does bores you. You are the person who has been given the responsibility to build that person to a way and manner that you admire and desire him or her the more. And that the whole world, when they see that person, they will celebrate. That is why we have this common saying that behind every successful man is what? A woman. And not only that, for a woman to also succeed, she should also have a supportive partner. So it goes vice versa. So I want you to understand that marriage is what you've got to give. Relationship is what you have got to offer. And not only about what you want to receive. Oh, I want a man who is like this, a man who is having this. I want a woman who is this, who is that. They are not so important. Those things come as bonuses, okay? If you get a woman who is so beautiful, it's a gift from God. Thank God for that. If you have a man who is a pastor, if you have a man who is a fisherman, whatever, it's a gift from God. We praise God. If you have a wealthy man, that's wonderful. But the most important thing is the heart of the person. Do you know the heart of the person you are living with? Get to know and understand the heart of that person. And then see your partner as your child. You see, I always see my wife as my one and only daughter. The way a man can be attached to his daughter is the way I see my wife. So when she does anything, the love becomes so stronger than the error, that comes out. Because I'm like, if this is my child, would I treat her the way that, the first thought appeared to me that I should react? No. So your partner should be someone who is bonded with you in soul. If you did that mistake yourself, ask yourself, were you not going to forgive yourself? Is it because it's another person? So now there is no forgiveness here. So these are the few things I want us to understand when it comes to relationship. That God has a keen interest in our relationship, and He's a key and a major stakeholder. We should keep ourselves pure. We should get to know our partner very well, not based on external factors, but based on true love. Thank you very much for watching. I would like you to send your comment, share to as many as you can, and for those who are new to my channel, kindly subscribe, and then look out for the next topic, which will be on marriage. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.